Everybody around the country that bass fishes, tournament fishes, derby fishes, has that local guy that's a stick, you know, that wins consistently. Well, one of my regular tournament partners is Billy Booth, and I got him out here today mainly because I was hoping we would roll up on some early spawners, because that's his deal. That's what he's an expert at. A couple years ago we went to Chickamauga together, and within a day, you know, I've been fishing down there for 12 years, hadn't caught a fish over a double digit, and within a couple of days Billy had a 10-3. But I was hoping to get him out here and shoot a little footage and kind of give you guys a rundown on his thoughts of, you know, what he thinks about or what he goes through in his mind in a spawn situation. This is really early spawn right now. Water's just hit right at 60 degrees. I'm sure it'll be 60 in this back bay by the end of the day. Fish around here in our area in Michigan are starting that spawning cycle, and this is Billy's time of the year. This is really when he shines, when he catches lots and lots of fish and takes a lot of people's money. So hope you enjoy it. Check it out. Rock and roll.
Okay, we're in here. We're in this backwater bay. The other day these fish were pushed way out. This time of year in the spring, it's all about water temperature. So we followed the water temperature back here, come up a few degrees, like 59. These fish are just pulling up on bed. There's just a couple, but we're throwing a Swimjig, Daiwa to Tula 8-to-1, so I can keep up with them. And we're feathering through this grass, and a lot of these fish we're catching off beds that we can't see. And then when we can see them, we're power pulling down, making pitches to them. Just like that. Gotta be one back there. So, fishing a Swimjig, it's taken me a lot of years to get good at this. Not that I'm the best, but the thing I've learned the most is you gotta kind of feather this through stuff. When the fish grabs it, you don't set the hook right away. You'll drive yourself nuts. You'll miss too many. I let the fish load up and actually grab that jig, start swimming off, turn sideways before I crack them. It takes some practice to do. You just gotta get out there and get in a high percentage area and get a Swimjig in your hand. Don't put anything else in it until you master it. But it just, it's a different bite. They bite this different than most anything. So I'm just kind of feathering it through, and the hardest part is when you see them come up and get it, you still need to have that delay. Right there. Now that fish came up and grabbed that, and I waited till that fish turned before I set the hook. Pretty much just kept reeling. Up here, and we found one on a bed, so we're going to take the same jig, and I'm just going to see if I can take it off, see if we can catch it. And that's how it's supposed to go. Okay, let's talk about bed fishing a little bit. It's something I love to do. If I can see them, that's my wheelhouse, I feel like. It doesn't mean that I feel like I can catch every single fish, but basically when I come up to a fish, It's all about reading its mood. Each individual fish on a bed is going to be react to different things in a different manner. So initially I might do a more aggressive approach, heavy line, a big jig, you know, something that's high percentage. If that fish bites, I can get him out of there. But really what I'm doing is just trying to see his reaction. And then I'm going to get into different techniques, drop shots. Drop shots a great method. Basically my mentality is, if that fish reacts in some manner aggressively, it can be just a little nip. I'm going to stay on that fish probably till I catch it. If it's a tournament situation, it all depends on how big it is. If it's a big fish and I feel like it's worth it, I've spent several hours on a fish. I was fortunate last year. I fished a tournament. I had a pretty good bag. That was the only reason I stayed on this fish. For our area, it was a good one. It was about a 5.5 pounder. And I fished that fish 2 hours and 15 minutes. I caught it in the last 15 minutes and made it back to weigh-in, and that's what allowed me to win that tournament. But ordinarily, I'm not going to spend a couple hours on a fish. If it's a full-fledged spawn and I know that there's more fish out there, I'm going to go and just find a more aggressive one. So that's kind of one of my takes on bed fishing. Another thing I see people doing all the time when they're bed fishing is they're too close to the fish. Now, if it's a real aggressive fish, you can get right on top of them a lot of times, but a lot of times, if you can't catch a fish, you just need to back the boat off and wait a little while and let that fish settle down. If he doesn't know your presence there, they get a lot easier to fish. There are some fish, I believe, that will not hit anything if they know you're there. And sometimes I come back to them. I'll let them settle down. I'll go fish a different area. I'll mark that somehow on the bank and visually, so that I don't have to lay my eyes on that fish, and I'll make a long cast to it. And that's another strategy of getting those fish that are hard to catch. Right now what we're mainly catching is just these smaller males, but the way they're setting up and the time of year, we know that there's got to be some big females in here. It's just a matter of time before we connect with one. That fish right there, as I was swimming that jig, I got hung up a little bit and paused it for a second. He come up and grabbed it. So that tells me that that fish was on a bed over there. Try to get this back here. Miss. Push that bait right towards me and took one of my pinches off. See if he'll come back. There he is. Chunker. Textbook, you know, last week these fish were all out further towards the main lake. This is some of the warmest water around. You know, it's a good 3-4 degrees, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's huge during the spawn. And so we came in here and thought that the fish may have left, but what we found is we pushed shallower and shallower. We're only in a couple feet of water, if that, and what we found is they raced towards the bank, and I mean they're loaded in here. That's another thing, casting ahead of the boat and catching some of these fish that are on bed with a jig. I roll up on them. I'm not going to spend too much time, like there's one on a bed right here, but I'm not going to spend too much time because that may have been a fish I just caught, not knowing it, and he's probably not going to go again for quite some time, seeing how we just stuck him. Out of there. That fish swam that jig towards me probably 3 feet before I set the hook. And they'll hold on to that jig longer than you think. I think that's why a lot of guys miss fish on a swim jig, is because they think that fish is just going to grab that and spit it. Those fish, most of the time, they'll hold on to that longer than you think. So you've got to train yourself and get experience with just delaying that just a little bit. There, you see that? That fish just about came out of the water to get that swim jig. Anybody that knows my fishing style knows if I'm in 2 feet of water or less, I'm happy. You can already see wakes out there, so that's a good sign. There he is. Get him out of this stuff. One more.
Hi everybody, I'm just finishing up editing the video that I shot yesterday with my good buddy Billy Booth, and noticed as I was going through the footage, we didn't really cover the tackle as much as we should have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another video to add on to this video. So look for that video. I'm gonna upload this video first. It's going to be spawn fishing with a swim jig with Billy Booth, and then look for the next video to come up, which is going to be the tackle and equipment we used during this video, and I'm going to get more in depth in that next video on the rod, reel, line, everything we're using, from knots to leaders to the jig we're using, the trailers, the different types of trailers we use with swim jigs, for to get you a really in-depth information on fishing a swim jig during the spawn. One more thing, I want to thank everybody for watching. You know, we're new to this YouTube thing, and I want to thank everybody that has watched our videos, and I want to thank all my subscribers. I know we're just new to, this channel's new for us. We're trying to build our subscriber base. So if you could hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share with your friends, tell people. The whole idea of us is to share quality content, help you guys get out there and catch, and girls, get out there and catch more bass. Thanks.